Welcome to Everyday Literacy Fun. We're so glad you're with us today. And this is week number 5, video number 5, and we hope you can look at the other videos if you haven't seen them, because I share activities from my book, Family Time Reading Fun, that is also in Spanish, but we've been sharing all the English versions. But if you ever need any of the Spanish translations, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm on Facebook and you can message me there or through Orange County United Way. Today, we are going to have 2 major goals, and we're going to be reading 2 books and also listening to a song all about penguins. We're choosing one theme, but we're going to learn some facts, some true things about penguins, and then we're going to read the book. Let's listen to, there are 2 books, Penguins' Hidden Talent and Lost and Found. And as I read those books, I want you to listen to see what's a fact, what's true about a penguin in that story, and what's not true. Well, some of the true things about penguins, did you know that penguins walk faster than humans, than you and I? They're fast walkers. And they communicate with each other through body language, through not what they say, but what they show you with their bodies. And they pick up stones and store them in their crop, or some of them like to just carry the stones on their feet. And listen to this, penguins can hold their breath for about 20 minutes underwater. So they can swim a long way. I wonder if either of our stories will have the penguins swimming for a long time. And the Galapagos Islands is the farthest place north the penguins can live. That's still pretty far south, because most of the penguins that we hear about live down in Antarctica, in the very cold part of our Earth. And penguins, listen to this, enjoy sliding on their bellies down icebergs. So they're in a very cold area and like to be on icebergs sliding down. Another fun fact is that there are 18 different kinds of penguins, and they are the fastest swimming bird, and penguins are carnivores. That means they like to eat meat. So there's a lot of things about penguins, but let's find out more by listening to a song and maybe doing the actions with the song. I hope you do. Let's listen and sing and do the actions.
When you look at me, a penguin you will see. Penguins, attention, penguins begin. Right flipper. Have you ever seen
Is that your right flipper?
a penguin come to tea? When you look at me, a penguin you will see. Penguins, attention.
Attention.
Penguins begin. Right flipper. Have you ever seen a penguin come to tea? When you look at me, a penguin you will see.
What's going to happen next?
Penguins, attention. Penguins begin. Right flipper. Right foot. Have you ever seen?
And what's going to come after the right foot?
When you look at me, a penguin you will see. Penguins, attention. Penguins begin. Right flipper. Right foot. Left foot.
Did you guess left foot? If you did, you're right. It's a longer song, but I want you to see the fun you can have just listening to a song and following the actions. That's literacy. And there's an activity in my book called clapping machines. And what you do with clapping machines is clap to the syllables. And I want to say some of the words that we just heard, and let's see if we can clap to the syllables, because we have you ever seen, do you remember, a penguin come to tea? That's clapping to the syllables. Oh, when you look at me, a penguin you will see. Penguin, attention. Penguin, begin. That's clapping to the syllables. And that is following directions, listening. But did you know by the end of kindergarten and even in first grade, children are expected to hear and understand what syllables sound like and what they're like in a word. And by just singing songs, clapping to the syllables, they are addressing that Common Core standard. So that is one of the activities that can be so much fun, clapping, and then we can have it come alive by singing and doing actions. So let's read a story about penguins. Penguins' hidden talent. And as you're listening, listen for the things that might be true about a penguin that we heard about, facts about them. They swim fast, don't they? They run fast. Well, let's find out what penguins' hidden talent or gift is. Well, the big annual talent show was just around the corner. There's a lot of animals there. Wow, and everyone was practicing. Oh my goodness, there's a fox that says, burp. That's a talent. There's a bear that's juggling. There's another animal that's playing with something. We'll find out what that is. And look, the rabbit, ta-da, pops out of a hat. So they're practicing all their talents. Everyone except Penguin. Penguin couldn't figure out what his talent was. There he is, trying to think, and he can't think of anything. It wasn't baking. Oh, look at all the baking things on the floor. It wasn't map reading. It looks like he kept going in circles when he was reading a map. He wasn't following the directions. And it wasn't knitting. Oh my goodness, he had all the things everywhere, but none of it worked. Albatross wanted to help Penguin. How nice of him. And to help him find a talent. Have you ever tried swallowing a whole marlin, he asked. Too big, says Penguin. And then he brings him a smaller one, still too big. And now, perfect, but Penguin could only swallow a sardine. Bear also wanted to help. Have you ever tried juggling appliances? He asked. Appliances are in your kitchen. Wow. A toaster? What? The tree. But Penguin only managed to break a blender and get a toaster stuck in the tree. So I guess his talent wasn't juggling appliances the way Bear could. Well, have you ever tried doing magic tricks? Asked Rabbit. But the Penguin made Rabbit's watch disappear. It went under there. He couldn't bring it back again. Something happened to it. Have you ever tried burping the alphabet? Said Fox. Look at that. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. But all Penguin could do was hiccup, hiccup. Is that what a penguin does? Do they hiccup? We didn't learn about that, did we? Well, don't worry about me, said Penguin. I'll just help you organize the talent show. That way, I can still be involved even though I don't have a talent. He doesn't think he can do anything, but he wants to organize the show. So while his friends practiced, Penguin drew posters. Is that a talent? And he made phone calls, and he sent emails, and he polished the trophy. Sure looks like he's doing a lot. Well, let's see how the talent show goes. Finally, the big day arrived, and it says big talent show. Talent show, what does that say? Entrance. There were fireworks and jets and lots of good music. My goodness, look at those jets flying and the music coming out of the speaker. Wow, and a lot of animals having a lot of fun. Well, then there was a guest speaker. You have to believe in yourself, said the guest speaker. Is that King of Is that the King of Norway? Oh, I believe it is. So a king was at their talent show. And a famous band played called the Jolly Llamas. Groovy! And look at, they're all dancing. Boy, they look like they're having a lot of fun at that talent show. And the show started. Albatross, fox, bear, rabbit, all did exceptionally well. Look at, they're all doing their different things. Somebody's even doing a yo-yo. Somebody's dancing, blowing a bubble, blowing a balloon. And there's Bear juggling, sure enough, and doing other things. Somebody's rolling on a barrel. Somebody's shooting an arrow to an apple on somebody's head. And look at that. They are doing so many different things. Kazam. And then there were the judges. The judges took forever to count up the points, but eventually they came to a big decision, a good decision. The winner of this year's talent show is Bear. And with medals of excellence going to Albatross, Fox, and Rabbit. So they all got rewards for doing such a good job in the talent show. But did Penguin have a talent? Everyone celebrated, but not Penguin. After all, he didn't have a medal. He's walking back home, and it looks like things coming out of the sky like rain or snow. As he walked slowly home, though, he was walking through the snow, sure enough. Bear, Albatross, and Rabbit were very worried about Penguin. They tried to think of a way to cheer him up. I know, said Rabbit. Let's throw Penguin a party to thank him for organizing the talent show. They were thinking, and everyone agreed that it was a very good idea. And they all worked late into the night to organize a great party. See the lights on in their house. Well, let's see what happens at the party. Then the next morning, when Penguin came outside for the newspaper, he found that his friends had thrown him a party, and it wasn't a very good one. There's a sign. Albatross had made a tattered banner. It's tattered and torn, and it said thanks Penguin. He didn't know how to spell thanks, and he didn't know how to spell penguin. And then the only music that Rabbit could organize was a singing canary. There's a bird singing in the air. And Fox brought his grandma as the guest speaker. Oh my goodness, grandma's speaking. And Bear brought an old loaf of bread instead of cake. What a party. Not a very good one, was it? Well, let's see, what do you think Penguin thought about that? If only you'd organize the party, Penguin, said Rabbit, then it wouldn't be so terrible. And just then, Penguin realized how talented he really was. I don't need a medal. I need a telephone, he says. What's he going to do on this telephone? Well, it looks like he called up a lot of things and had another party. Penguin rocks, they had a sign flying from a plane. And what a great party, what a great talent. All the animals agreed and had such a treat. So, Penguin's hidden talent, what was that? Well, I hope you enjoyed that story, and there's an activity that you can do after that story or any time when you want to share something and maybe you aren't wanting to write it, or maybe you haven't begun to be a good writer yet, but you want to tell somebody what you just heard. So we can do an activity called Playing Secretary. And Playing Secretary is really something where you listen and a secretary can write down what you say. You can speak to them. You're listening to a story, you're talking about a story, and someone writes it down. And there are Common Core standards that really can be addressed, Mom, Dad, by doing that, because it says that children in kindergarten, by the end of kindergarten, should use a combination of drawing, so they can draw maybe a picture of what they heard in the story, dictating, and writing to compose opinion pieces and thoughts. So we're addressing that standard, but think about Penguin's hidden talent. What is something you heard there that you want to remember? And we could be the secretary that says, I think I heard somebody say, Penguin found his, what did he find? Talent. And what was that talent? Was planning, wasn't it? And organizing. He did have a talent. And so those are big words and long sentences that maybe you wouldn't write, but you can have somebody write for you and they can play secretary. I want to show you some playing secretary activities that some children did. This child was asked the question, what do you do when you go to the library? And this was a preschooler that said, I wrote it there, but then said, when I was going to the library, my favorite part was when we went to the park and I was drawing about the mouse that he heard in the story. And then there are others that might write some words, but tell the family to please write for me, help me write, because I want it to say, my family, I like it with my mom and dad read when they read a book in the dark to me. So we can play secretary as children talk to us, or children talk to your family or someone and have them write it down, but you can draw the picture. Well, we've just read Penguin's Hidden Talent, and did we hear very much in that story about what penguins really are like? Not a lot. They weren't down at the South Pole or Antarctica, were they? But they were in the snow, and penguins love that. Well, we're going to read another story about penguin, and that story is called Lost and Found. And let's see if we hear more things in this story that are about that really could be about real penguins. But then it's a fictional story, so there's going to be make-believe here. Once there was a boy who found a penguin at his door. Whoa. Wow. The boy didn't know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. And the penguin looked sad, and the boy thought, it must be lost. Very possible. So the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. And he checked in the Lost and Found office, but no one was missing a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where the penguin came from. Here's some birds up in these trees. But you know what? They ignored him. Some birds are like that. When you get ignored, people don't pay attention to you. And they weren't paying attention to him and didn't answer his question. Let's see, the penguin's talking to a bird. Did you know the bird is a penguin? But we learned that it doesn't fly in the air, but it swims, doesn't it? The boy asked the duck, his duck. Look, he's taking a bath with little ducky. But the ducky floated away, and he didn't know either. There's the sad penguin again. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He wanted to help the penguin, but he wasn't sure how. Here's the light in the house. The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole. That's a fact. That's real. But how could he get there? He ran down to the harbor. Wow, look at this huge ship. And asked a big ship to take them to the South Pole. But his voice was so small to be heard over the ship's horn. There's a lighthouse, and it looks like the ship's even bigger than that. And look how tiny they are. So they didn't get that ship to hear them. I wonder what's going to happen. Is he going to be able to get there? Together, the boy decided he and the penguin would row to the South Pole. We don't know where that boy lives, but it's South Pole. You have to go through a lot of water, a big ocean. So the boy took his rowboat out and tested it for size and strength. He wanted to be sure it was a strong rowboat. And he told stories to the penguin to help pass time. And then they packed everything they would need. Look at that. What would they need to go on a long trip like that? Looks like they've got an umbrella, they've got a suitcase. I hope they took a lot of food, because that's a long ride. And they pushed the rowboat out to sea. So they had to get it in the water, didn't they, and pushed it there. They rowed south for many days. Whoa, look at those waves. And many nights. There are the stars in the sky. There's lots of time for stories, and the penguin listened to every one. So the boy would always tell another. Isn't that wonderful that he had stories to tell that penguin? Wonder what kind of story would you tell if you were with an animal or a penguin? They floated through good weather and bad. Look at the lightning coming down and the huge waves. When the waves were as big as a mountain. Whoa, that's amazing that they stayed safe. But until they finally came to the South Pole. And look, do you think there was really a sign that said, "Welcome to the South Pole"? The boy was delighted by the penguin but the penguins said nothing. Suddenly, it looked sad again as the boy helped it out of the boat. Why? He's back home, isn't he? What was he sad about? The boy said goodbye and floated away. And when he looked back, the penguin was still here, but it looked sadder than ever. He left that penguin with something there, but it was sad. It felt strange for the boy to be on his own, all alone. There was no point telling stories now because there was no one to listen except the wind and the waves. Instead, he thought, And the more he thought, the more he realized he'd made a mistake. What was the mistake? He took him home, didn't he? The penguin hadn't been lost. It had just been lonely. He was looking for a friend. Quickly, he turned the boat around and rowed back to the South Pole as far as he could. There he is rowing. Oh my goodness, and something out here. At last he reached the pole again, but where was the penguin? The boy searched and searched. He was nowhere to be found. Oh, sadly, the boy set off for home. But then the boy saw something in the water ahead of him. Closer and closer he got until he could see. What do you think he saw? Yes, you're right, the penguin. Look, the penguin opened the umbrella and made it his own boat. And he was paddling on his own. Where was he going? He was going to go back to find his friend. And so the boy and his friend went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way. And there were lots of other animals, looks like whales and dolphins in the ocean, but they were happy to be together again. And I hope you enjoyed that story. And now let's play a game. This game takes words out of this story and hides them in a book and slides them out a little bit at a time. And the game is called Mystery Word from my book. But we're going to look at words that have different kinds of vowels in them, short vowels and long vowels. So here's short vowels: a like an apple and cat, like an egg, an elephant, and I like an igloo, and as an ox, so and as an umbrella. That's what he had, didn't he? They had an umbrella, and that's what helped that penguin float. And then there's long A, E, I, O, U that say their own name, like A, acorn, E, and in key, and I in ice, and O, wow, in oboe, and U in a unicycle. And if we think of how those sounds are, and we take words and hide them in a book, we'll play the game. So let's play a game called Mystery Word. I have a word hidden in here, and it came from our story Lost and Found, about the penguin and the boy. And the first letter in that word is S, and the next one is a short A, ah. Do you know a word in the story that's S, ah? Sad. Because wasn't he sad? Yes. Well, there's another word that we're going to hide in here and slide. And this one starts with a P, P, P. And it has a long O, like an O, po. Is there a word in the story that's P, O? Pole, right. He lived in the South Pole, didn't he? And let's do one more. Okay, I'm gonna hide it. But when you take words, you put them in a book or something to slide them out slowly. This helps our children blend and sound words. Here's another one, W, the W, W. A short I for I. Igloo. Oh no, that doesn't say igloo, does it? It's when. What is it? When they were on the water, there was heavy wind. So mystery word can be done with words that have different sounds, or we can hide words that have different syllables. So I'm gonna hide a word that has 2 syllables in it, okay? And see, and it came from the story. And the first syllable is mound. Remember, the water was so high, it was as high as a mountain. That's right. Or we could see that something in the story said that somebody was what would that be? Ignored. So we can blend by syllables and blend by sounds and solve the mystery word. And by doing that, we're also doing things that children need to learn in school about blending and being able to read words by blending sounds and syllables. Well, thank you for being with us today. I am so glad you are here and hope that you will stay tuned for being able to say you like the video or comment on the video and win a copy of my book from United Way in Orange County.